This is a breakdown of our ZRL Round 3 Race 3. We're in the America's Western B3 division. This happened on January 28, 2025. It's Road to Ruins Reverse, and I think it was just a great race. We do start out with a mechanical for one of our teammates right out of the gate. You'll see we kind of communicate and figure out a plan after that and just make things work. But I think this was a great race. There's a lot of really well done things by the entire team. And would love to hear your thoughts on what we could have done better, or leave us a comment on what you liked and didn't like. But here we go.
Oh, fuck. Guys,
Get back here, you can.
just try to reset it and we'll pull you back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying.
No worries.
This segment is of note because it's just a highly draftable climb. One thing I like about the SISU HUD, this mod that I developed, is I get 2-digit resolution on the climb. It really helps plan a little bit better. And in 2-digit you can see, it's hard to see, but the triangle in the bottom right, the pink, it's the bottom right most field in my SISU HUD, the green text. It updates real frequently and it gives you 2 digits, but this climb is in the lead-in. You don't really want to be off the front. I am overtaking here, you can kind of see, and that's less than ideal, but that's really when you're getting into the refinements of Zwifting strategy. You kind of want to be sagging a little, feather it just to catch up, and that's perfection, but just make sure you're maximizing draft, and that's all you really have to concern yourself with.
Feet of holding the gap for 3 minutes. Yeah, that's the last first challenge of the decade. I was sitting back to the pack thinking, like, oh, you know what, if you're a minute behind, you might still be able to catch. Like, I'll drop, try to get you back in, but 4 minutes is my ass.
I just hear excuses, Curtis.
You're right. I should restart. I'll unplug my motor.
Warm up for the time trial for next week.
Yeah.
We're still weighing out our options if we can get Keith back, a few jokes or whatnot, and I mean, it just shows that you really should be having fun racing, but we are figuring out strategy. Can we get Keith back? Does it make sense? He's a little far gone, but really proud of the team. We didn't give up, and we just found a really good use for Keith to become our DS. In this, and that was a big part of our performance today, is that we had that extra pair of eyes. So there's always something people can do, and I see this in the ladder races. I'm starting to see people, even if you fall off the back in a ladder race, for example, you putting pressure on the pack, meaning you trying to catch up, will force the other team to work. Either that or you catch back on, and there's always something that you can be doing at all moments. And so Keith immediately took over as our DS, and it was a big part of our success today. At this point, we were discussing what we needed to do about this flyer, and again, Keith in this DS role was critical. He could look up the weights, where we're going to catch him on the climb, and we made a call to let the flyer fly, and we either track him down later or see how he did on the climb. He was a larger sized rider, so probably not going to scream up the climb, and there's still portions of this climb that were draftable, so we were going to roll the dice. I don't think they're getting away for the balance of 25 kilometers. We don't feel the need to chase down the solo rider. When we start seeing people making moves, we need to cover. And in this case, I'm putting in a dig to just close the gap. I actually want to bring the peloton here. I made a mistake. This would have been a great place to use the steamroller, and I did not. I'm not trying to catch up, although I could have closed it, but I really want to encourage the pack to come at least chase down, not necessarily the flyer, although we're putting a dent in there, but to get the person trying to close the distance, and letting them dangle is not a bad strategy either. So I think this was well played, except for the steamroller. Basic racecraft here, I'm solely focused on recovery, and for me that means getting my heart rate down. That's really what I consider recovery. 140s, I'm pretty fresh, like absolutely fresh. 130s even better. Climbs coming up, we coordinate a dig to put some hurt in people's legs beforehand, and I think it was a good strategy. But we're about to start the first climb. I'm going in at 140 beats per minute, or 138 even, which is absolutely fantastic for me. So big part of racing is recovery. I think it's something I do very well. And so we can let the flyer fly and dangle, and we'll catch them later. But we're all preparing for some hurt here.
Brace this up, gentlemen.
Not much to be said here. You just gotta stay with the front. There is some draft to be had. I think getting sauce and looking at the draft or SISU HUD doesn't have to be. I'm not trying to promote my mod. It doesn't matter to me, but find some way to figure out draft. You're saving watts, and especially as a larger rider, I need to take every advantage I can on the climbs. Sometimes just don't even look at the numbers. Just commit yourself. You're gonna stay with the front and figure out recovery later. That's what's given me the most success in races. I just don't worry about it. I just know that I trust that I can recover well, and I'll find a spot. This big red in front of us is a lie because we swing to the right, but mission successful. I'm in the front pack, and we're closing in on the flyer.
Eventually the thing is gonna go back down.
Here we play to our strengths. We're not going to burn matches trying to close the gap. We'll see if other teams want to do that. But Curtis is a much larger rider, and what I said in the beginning was not a bad idea is to put pressure on the downs, because it's going to hurt the lighter riders. Our advantage is largest on -3% there, and so Curtis is taking over the pace in a way that Scott and I can recover. So we had 3 teammates that made it to the front. We're asking our teammates in the back to win their groups and be mindful of herd riders were our biggest opponents, but we're going to take some turns here. Curtis is going to put pressure, and we're going to eat into the gap of the flyers, and this makes sense because of our size. And Curtis is 102 kilos. He's a big boy, and I'm 86. So, and Scott is 80, I think, or 75 or so still larger riders. So pushing the pace here really hurts lighter riders, and it's a way to close the gap. And I'm fully embracing recovery here, doing 0 watts. You can float for a long time as an 86 kilogram rider on a -3%. You really shouldn't be putting it too many. But this is a good decision by us, and I think it paid dividends because the second climb is coming. We go off road. I finally use the steamroller correctly, which is great. And I'm going to close the gap now. I'm not going to kill myself to do this. This is like slightly above threshold. And I'm going to close it down. Nothing difficult here. I just need to stay off the front, stay in the draft, recover, see if I can get back to the 140 heart rate range. I don't need to be there, but the better, the lower the heart rate I can get, the better I'll do on the next climb. I was considering a move at the top of the climb. It is one of my strengths. It's even after a large expenditure, I can usually keep threshold for a while or a little bit above. But it was important. My teammates called me out on it. You can't go off the front at like 5 watts per kilo. It doesn't work. You need to snap at 10, 11, 12 watts per kilo and then hold 5 and then get into TT mode. And then you read the pack. So once you've gotten a separation of 10 seconds, you see what is the pack chasing you at, and if the front guy's at 4, you need to be at 4. If the front guy's at 3.2, you can take a break at 3.2. But we're discussing what to do here, and I'm feeling like I could push the break, but we'll see if that plays out. But right here I have a choice, and it's not really a choice. I need to keep this close, and we need to stay close. This climb is draftable, and we're getting too close to the end. Not fun to do an effort like this at the beginning, and again, I'm not trying to drop the pack. I'm actually trying to bring the pack with me. And so I would like, somebody else to take over from another team. All the ZRL rounds, and I don't care if this is critical, have really not. We've seen people just get off the front and nobody does the work. It's a little disappointing. You shouldn't be upset. You should have a counter for it. But mission successful. We reel it in, but then I've got to figure out how to do the rest of the climb. At this point, Scott takes over the race, and I really like this. He puts in a dig. We're trying to get separation. We're trying to hurt people, and then get our team to the front. And there's a little spot for respite up at the top here that we're gonna get a break, and here we are. This just has to be done. It's way too dangerous, especially to let lighter riders get off the front here. And yet again, I'm not really trying to drop the pack. I want to bring the pack up, and it's because we have the sprints that we can do this. So I'm actually in the draft, as you can see in SISU Alli or Sauce. It's not great, but I don't need to catch the first. I can let them dangle because I'm confident we'll reel them in on the back side. So this one, I just want to bring the pack, see the pack do some damage here, and then I had to rely on my teammates, and of course that's why we have teammates, because they're super reliable and they do their part. Curtis is helping me out here, as we need to finish this and crest this together at the top. So that's the plan. This is really the make or break moment in the race, and I'm already at 186 beats per minute. It means I'm hurting for sure, and I was. I can't tell you how much the encouragement from Keith as our DS was. He's just saying all the right things. I made some decent choices here. Scott came up and helped. I slipped into a better draft. There is no steering here, so getting behind is the right way to get into the draft and then picking up. But this just I just had to there is no spoon, and put in the watts to stay with my teammates. Not super worried about a 4-second gap with the three of us together on the downs. We will burn him down quickly, and we are getting good separation from the pack. This is ideal, with the exception of being at 190 beats per minute. My absolute max is about 200. Recently, it's been closer to 198. But this is the critical moment in the race. It just felt good to have three of us together. I am well over threshold here, but I can see the finish line, and I'm getting amazing encouragement from the team. But this is the moment that's worth pointing out. This was make or break for us. Here we see another dig from strong rider Jay Gord. One thing I want to point out, this is a must chase back, but this is where you lean on other teams and your team members. I'm keeping an eye on him, but I'm not hanging back because I'm hurting. Well, I was hurting, but I'm hanging back because we don't all need to chase him down. So right there, I'm putting in watts to get into the super tuck, to get in the draft, but look, I come off the watts here. So even in a pursuit, you need to find places to rest that are good, and I know that I can catch him. I know that Curtis has a handle on it. I know these gaps are all manageable, so I really don't want to be the one to chase him down, and I have teammates that I can rely on, and we can talk about how best to chase him down. Here I'm just getting the super tuck, but this was a critical moment. You don't all have to chase him down at the same time, but he can't get off the front. Letting him dangle is not bad. Like, I'm just taking free watts here, 0 watts, and then I do ask here for some help. Like, I do want to recover a little bit more. I have a good sprint, and I want to be ready for the end. So here I'm focused completely on recovery. I'm focused on the sprint, and I am cautious. I don't want to let somebody go off the front, so we're using team members to do that. Out of the Curtis has good watts on the sprint. Scott has pretty good watts on his sprint, but it would be Curtis, myself, and then Scott. And then Scott just knows the role here. You'll see in a minute. But this was a critical moment as well, to not get caught up in the chase when I don't need to, and to rely on team members. The other thing we need to be mindful of is that we don't get caught by the chase group, and that's kind of why I think it was a mistake, Gord pushing on the down. We've actually taken the chase group out of play, which is fantastic for us, and we should be able to concentrate on the sprint with 2.6 remaining. Now we're into the final kilometer, and it's important to set up appropriately. I need to get my heart rate down and be positioned in the back of the pack to sprint through and win. And so it's important to really think about this final 1,000 meters here.
No one's transitioning to a full sprint yet. Get ready. Keep an eye out on the break ball. Keep a look out on Rita in the back.
Here we go. We're set up pretty well. It's way too early to sprint. I like to hit 250 to 300 meters, but if somebody does go early, which we will see here, we have to cover. But it doesn't mean give it 12 watts per kilo. It means just enough to keep up. I do think I make a bit of a mistake in that I should have followed a bit closer to Curtis. I'm still in the draft, but it will sort of wane, and I do go to 0. I wait till I get about 300 meters to go.
Finish it off. Come 100 meters up. Let's go. There you go. You got it. Back it up, guys. Get it. Come on. 1, 2, 3.
I'll spare you some of the celebration. My legs were burning and I was screaming because it hurt. But really well raced, and congratulations to my teammates. Everybody did their part, and we took down a nice win.
Nice job, guys. That was awesome. Killed it.